This is the difference. Okay.
Good.
I think I left some of the Beis and Gimel.
We did leave between Beis and Gimel, but the way it's printed here is only a tiny piece from the edited version of this Farbrengen, which is printed in Kut Sichos Chelek Yud Aleph. So I just want to share some things from the way that Rebbe edited the Farbrengen. The Rebbe didn't edit the whole Farbrengen, that's why they put it over here this way. But you right, it's not the way we're learning it. But the Rebbe did edit parts of the Farbrengen, and then parts of what we learned. The Rebbe begins by asking a question. It says that in the Gemara that it was a disgrace for Moshe and the Jewish people because Yisro says Baruch Hashem, and no one said Baruch Hashem until Yisro came. So the question is, that's what the Gemara says. The question is, of course we said Baruch Hashem. Not only do we say Baruch Hashem, we said the whole Shira. We sang the song of Az Yasher. So certainly we said Baruch Hashem. Some comment and they say maybe we didn't say Baruch Hashem for leaving Mitzrayim, just for crossing the Reed Sea, but then the main thing is missing from the Gemara. The Gemara says no one said Baruch Hashem. Of course we said Shira. Why isn't that good enough? So the Zohar says that Hashem couldn't have given us the Torah until Yisro came and said Baruch Hashem. There's something about what Yisro did that allowed the Torah to be given. So in his saying Baruch Hashem, it wasn't just like he said the words Baruch Hashem, there's something that he did with those words. So as we were learning yesterday, Yisro's arrival to the Jewish people was for a purpose. And we learned yesterday that he wanted to bolster the honor of the Jewish people. But the Zohar says something deeper. The Zohar says the Torah could not have been given without Yisro. You needed Yisro to get the Torah. Why? What's the meaning of the giving of the Torah? I mean, the truth is the information of the Torah they had before. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov all studied Torah. The essence of the giving of the Torah is, as Medrash says, that the essence of the giving of the Torah is that before the giving of the Torah, there was the decree that the heavens stay in heaven, the earth stays on earth, and there can't be a connection between the two. So the idea of the giving of the Torah is Hashem annulling the decree and allowing there to be a fusion between the spiritual and the physical.
So and also the actual commandments, though?
The mitzvahs?
Yeah, I mean...
True. There wasn't in the category of a commandment. There were commandments they were given, though. There were individual commandments, but even those commandments they were told to do didn't draw down holiness to the world in the same way that we can with our mitzvahs. It says in the Medrash, the actions of our forefathers are called fragrances, but our actions are called oil. So this says that when you transfer oil from one place to another, there's actually something there. There's something that's moving, but the fragrance is no mamashastic. There's nothing of substance that moves. So what Man Torah accomplishes is that we're actually able to transfer kedusha from to this physical world. So what's Yisro's role in that in doing that? The Zohar connects Yisro's arrival to the pasuk that Shlomo Melech said. It says, "I've seen," says Shlomo Melech, that there's an advantage to wisdom over foolishness. Wisdom surpasses foolishness, and it's similar to the advantage of light over darkness. You don't need Shlomo Melech to tell you that wisdom is better than foolishness. You don't need Shlomo Melech to tell you that light's better than darkness. So what Shlomo Melech is actually saying, if you look more carefully, he's not saying that wisdom is better than foolishness or light is better than darkness. He says there's an advantage of wisdom from foolishness. There's an advantage of light from darkness. And specifically when you have darkness before, and then from the darkness itself, you create light, there's a much greater light. When you have foolishness before, from the foolishness, you get to wisdom, it's a much greater wisdom. On the surface, it's what Shlomo Melech was talking about is the power of tshuva, the power of coming from the darkness. He's talking about the power of discovering the answer after not understanding it first. And like in the Babylonian Talmud specifically, when there's questions, we're able to get to the deeper insight into the idea. But without the questions, you can't get there. But it also, what Shlomo Melech is also saying, is not only that tshuva does something and that questions do something, but it's specifically when you're through the lowest kinds of things and their transformation, can you achieve the highest of levels? So Yisro, because he was someone who recognized every single kind of idolatry in the world and knew them very well. As we learned yesterday, it wasn't just the idolatry that he knew well, but Yisro knew all of the various intermediaries through which God sends his sustenance to the world. Yisro knew all the various levels of godliness as of the flow of kedusha.
The koiches of tumah.
Not the koiches of tumah. Talking about koiches of kedusha. Yisro knew all the various intermediaries from Bria and Yetzirah and Atzilus until it came to this world. And so for him to suddenly turn around and realize that all this is fake and all this is not real, and all the axe in the hand of the woodchopper. So what he did was, by doing this, was he transformed the klipa to kedusha.
It's not fake. It's just connects to the hand of the woodchopper.
Which means there's no.
If you're saying it's kedusha, it's not fake.
Okay, true. A malach is a malach. Atzilus is atzilus.
Right.
But it's
an intermediate.
It's intermediate, which has no substance or force on its own.
Right.
All it is an expression of the truth of Hashem. So Hashem expresses himself through a leaf blowing in the wind, and Hashem expresses himself through and that what is the leaf happened to land on top of an ant and protect it from the sun. It's not that there's some force in the intermediary in the wind and the leaf. All it is the Eibishter. So Yisro was able to recognize that all the intermediaries are not a thing. They're only Hashem, and there's no force in its own. And Yisro recognized further that all the klipa, all the different kinds of idolatry that that it was all fake. So Yisro's recognition achieves a transformation of klipa to kedusha. And that was necessary to get the Torah. Why is it necessary to get the Torah? Because again, what's Torah about? Torah is not just the information. Torah is about the bringing godliness to the world. So by Yisro recognizing the klipa and how the klipa itself is wrong and kedusha is real, by Yisro having that recognition, and further that even in kedusha itself that all the intermediaries don't have any force on their own, Yisro transformed klipa to kedusha. And only when there's a transformation of klipa to kedusha can you get the Torah. Why do you need the transformation of klipa to kedusha to get the Torah? Because what's Torah about? Torah is about godliness being revealed in the physical world. So only through the transformation of klipa to kedusha, of the lowest of klipa to kedusha, can the Torah really cause this fusion. And that's why the Torah says that Yisro heard about the splitting of the Reed Sea and the war of Amalek. The splitting of the Reed Sea wasn't just an event of the water splitting, but as we learned yesterday, the water represents that which is hidden from our eyes. And the dry land is something we could see with our eyes. So the splitting of the Reed Sea means that Hashem revealed things which were hidden, things which are above this world. Alma diskasi. Hashem revealed godliness in the world. So the theme of the splitting of the Reed Sea is the same theme of the giving of the Torah. The theme of splitting the Reed Sea is about how Hashem brings something which is higher than this world, and He reveals it in this world. That's a theme of the splitting of the Reed Sea. 30 seconds. Let you go.
Yes, sir.
The theme of the splitting of the Reed Sea is the same theme of the giving of the Torah. It's about the revelation of godliness in the world. But there's a difference between what Man Torah to accomplish and splitting the Reed Sea. Splitting the Reed Sea is about how kedusha is revealed to the world, but doesn't reach that which is lower than kedusha. Doesn't reach the klipa. Yisro's role is in the transformation of klipa to kedusha. Splitting the Reed Sea is about that which is hidden. The higher godly revelation should be revealed. But where it should be revealed? It should be revealed in the lowest levels of kedusha, lowest levels of holiness. To reach that which is unholy, to reach that you need this. And that's the reason why the Torah emphasizes that Yisro came because of the splitting of the Reed Sea and the war with Amalek. What's the emphasis of the war with Amalek? Yisro realized by seeing the war with Amalek that the splitting of the Reed Sea didn't finish the job. the klippa still remained. The klippa is still there. And therefore, there isn't yet this fusion of the spiritual and physical. There isn't yet the full revelation of godliness. There's still klippa. Yes, at the time of splitting the reed, the Torah says that all nations of the world were trembling because of us. True, they were trembling. That's true. But trembling isn't the goal. The goal is there should be a transformation of the unholy to the holy. The purpose of the giving of the Torah is not just that Kedusha should reach Atzilus, to spiritual, should reach the lowest places of the physical world. That's the goal of the giving of the Torah. And at the splitting of the Reed Sea, there is the fusion of the hidden world to the revealed world. It doesn't go to the level of klip. It doesn't go to the unholy. It just scares the unholy. It doesn't transform it. And that's why Yisro realized this when there was a war with Amalek. The fact that Amalek could still attack us after this indicates that there's still klippa out there. And klippa has to be transformed. It wasn't done yet. And this is the purpose of Yisro's arrival to the Jewish people, was to transform the klippa. He says, you guys did a great job. You brought Kedusha down, but you can go all the way down. Let me show you how to do this. That's why Yisro, the Gemara says, was the first one to say Baruch Hashem. It wasn't the words Baruch Hashem. The word Baruch means to draw down Kedusha to the world. We drew Kedusha down at the splitting of the Reed Sea, and God caused revelation at that time. But it didn't go all the way down. In order to go all the way down, you have to have a Yisro. Yisro comes from the realm of the unholy. And him recognizing Hashem, that is the full transformation of Klippah to Kedusha. So what does that have to do with us? As we learned yesterday, every single day we have Kriyas Yamsuf, we have Matan Torah, and we have the war with Amalek. The beginning of the day is Yisei Meidani. In order to get to the giving of the Torah, just like at that time, before getting the Torah, they had to fight with Amalek, because it was only by fighting with Amalek that they got Yisro, which, by the way, explains, as Rebbe says in this talk, they're going higher and higher and higher. First, they go out of Egypt, then they cross the Red Sea, then they get the Torah. And in the middle, it seems that there's this descent. They fight with Amalek. And Rebbe says that it's part of the elevation, because that brought Yisro. Well, yes, the event itself was a negative event, but that was part of the process of bringing Yisro to the Jewish people. So in order to go out into the world and to transform the unholy in your life, to fight with the Amalek, to fight with those things which seem to be the opposite of holy and distant from holy. And as Rebbe emphasizes, not just things which are close to holiness, things which are way out there, which is what Hashem asks us to do every single day, to elevate every part of our life to holiness. The preparation for this is splitting the Reed Sea. Just like the splitting of the Reed Sea was a revelation of the hidden worlds, so too every day when you daven and you learn Torah, you are revealing your neshama. You're letting your neshama be revealed in yourself. And that revelation of your neshama, that allows you to then go out into the world and to impact the world, to elevate the mundane, to elevate the physical. You have to first split your own Reed Sea before you're able to elevate the physical world. You have to first reveal whatever you have inside of you by learning and davening to be able to go out there. And just like it was the war with Amalek that allowed them to receive the Torah, so too every day God gives us the Torah, the preparation to really absorb Torah. How can you really absorb the Torah? That the Torah should be internalized. It's through B'chol Derech HaDe'el. It's by knowing Hashem in even those most distant things in your life. If you only know the Eivisher and things which are a little bit close to Kedusha, things which aren't so challenging, you're not really going to be able to connect to the essence of Torah. It's precisely when you're able to behold in all your ways to know Hashem, even those things which seem to have no connection at all, and yet in those things themselves, you also attach to Hashem. That's the preparation to receive the Torah. Just like the war with Amalek, fighting the unholy, helping get the Torah, so too engaging with those parts of our life which seem to be so foreign, so disconnected to holiness, and imbuing and realizing the purpose of those things, and concentrating on what Hashem is giving us and why Hashem is putting this in our life, and knowing Hashem in those things. That's a preparation to really get the Torah. So every day, everybody just goes over at the end of this talk, how our day works. Start off your day, you wait Dahani. Then you start learning Torah and davening, doing holy things. And then you have breakfast. It says that there are people who are used to it, have breakfast before they learn Torah, or they should have strength to learn Torah. And then you engage in mundane things. So in order to engage in the mundane things, you have to first reveal the light of your neshama through Torah and prayer, and only then to bring the light of Kedusha in the physical things in your life. Because as it says in the Torah, how can you elevate the physical? How can you eat before you daven? How can you lift something up when you're attached to the physical? You have to first cause a revelation of your neshama before you're able to elevate the physical. And this is the order of most people. Torah talks about most people. And throughout the day, a person learns Torah whenever they're able to throughout the day. But besides all people, besides most people who could study Torah throughout the day after davening, there are many different kinds of ways of serving Hashem, of Yisachar and Zvulun, and every person has their time for receiving the Torah. There are some people, the Rebbe says, they study Torah just one chapter in the morning. That's all they could do. Some people, they say in Uval Etzion, they say Kadosh Kadosh. They say Shema in middle of that, which is also Torah. And they say the Parsha in Karbanis. It's also Torah. They say the bracha of Koyanim, the bracha of Yerechacha, that we say at the end of the morning blessings. So that's also receiving the Torah. That's all they're able to do, and not everyone is able to learn more than that. At some people, that's all they're able to do. But everyone has their time of receiving the Torah, and whatever way your path is that Hashem has given you, this is the preparation to receive the revelation of Anochi. Anochi Avai Elokecha. Anochi Elokecha means that God says to each of us, I am your life and strength. Elokecha, I'm your power, I'm your might. To be able to absorb and internalize that truth that comes through this Aveda of Kriyas Yamsuf, of starting off your day with davening, etc., and the whole day realizing what everything is for and connecting yourself to Hashem, even the most mundane things, and then you're able to absorb this truth. Hashem says to you, I am your life and strength. That whatever's going on, your life and strength is really godly. It says in Hayom Yom that there are two characteristic expressions in Chassidus. One is that a Jew senses is supernatural and feels it, and the other is that a Jew does not want and cannot separate himself from Hashem. So the Rebbe says these two ideas are connected. Because a Jew senses is supernatural, because a Jew feels his life is supernatural, that his life is miraculous, that his life is godly, that's why he cannot separate himself from Hashem. He doesn't want to separate himself from Hashem. So that's what I think that the Rebbe is referring to when he says revelation on Anochi Avai Elokecha. You feel that Hashem is your life and strength. So to get to that feeling, it's through focusing on even those parts of your life which seem to be so disconnected, and realizing in all your ways you're meant to, and you can, and you should, and you're able, and it's for knowing Hashem.